morning and welcome to VOP this morning. It's Tuesday and it's the first day in the month of August, and we want to wish you happy new month. It's now a tradition to wish people happy new month. So yes, it's a day after Nigeria's president's speech to Nigerians. Well, the speech, one of the things that we'll be talking about today. I'm Moses Humphrey, and my colleague Esther Nwachuku will be joining us much later on the show. Well, I did say earlier that this morning, after the president's broadcast, we will be looking at some of the things that he said in the broadcast, and we'll be zooming in on exactly what it was that he outlined or didn't say. All right, but was expected to say. Okay, now the question then is, did the speech hit the spot? Are Nigerians now soothed after hearing what Mr. President had to say last night? Oh well, this of course will be our topic for today on VOP this morning. But as usual, we'll head into the papers and find out what the papers have to say this morning. And we do have some papers with us. I have with me VOP in-house analyst Cyril Abaku. As we do this, we'd like for you to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Let us know what you think about everything going on in the country. Our channel on YouTube is Voice of the People TV. That is Voice of the People TV. We are your voice. Now you know you have more than a voice actually. So let us banter. All right. Let's know what you think. Drop your views, comments, contributions underneath our post on YouTube, and also do follow us on other social media channels. On Twitter, we are at VOP TV Live. Also on Instagram, VOP TV Live. All right. We'd like to hear from you. Now let's head into what the papers have for us. Do have some dailies with me this morning. Just a few. I have the Punch, the Nation, Nigerian Tribune, and the Daily Trust. Now, Cyril, let's start off with the Nation newspaper, shall we? Now, the Nation has its banner headline, Subsidy Pain. Tinubu rolls out relief package. That's the very bold headline from the Nation newspaper. Subsidy pain. Tinubu rolls out relief package. President outlines measures to boost economy. Ogbe, others hail presidential plan. And then there was a highlight, a breakdown of some of the things that he said. So let me just run through them very, very quickly. 75 billion naira to fund 75 billion naira to fund 75 enterprises with 1 billion naira credit at 9% interest. 125 billion naira for MSMEs. 50 billion naira as conditional grants to 1 million nano businesses, 50,000 naira each to 1,300 small business owners in each of the 774 councils, 75 billion naira for 100,000 MSMEs and startups with 500,000 naira to 1 million naira at 9% interest. Release of 200,000 metric tons of grains from strategic reserves to households across the 36 states and FCT at moderate prices. 225,000 metric tons of fertilizer, seedlings, others to farmers. 200 billion naira out of the 500 billion naira approved by the National Assembly to be disbursed as follows. It goes on and on, but this is one of our major talking points, so let's not go too deep into it. Let's look at some of the headlines here. Well, this is basically the major thing in the cover page of the Nation. But on top of the nameplate, they have President travels to Benin Republic. Labor leaders chase workers out of Oyo Secretariat. It's time to deliver, President tells service chiefs. Labor insists on protest despite ongoing talks with government. Lagos slashes bus fares by 50%. Poor families to get food packs. The drama of ministerial screening, day one. All right. Underneath at the bottom part, we have diphtheria has killed 83, infected 836. CBN exempts MFBS others from cash limit policy. All right. So yes, these are the headlines that we have from the nation. Let's lump them. Let's lump it with another before you respond. Let's go to Nigerian Tribune. Let's see what they have to say. I'll just take a few from Nigerian Tribune. The banner headline here is National Broadcast Salary Review coming. 125 billion naira to energize MSMEs. Tinubu approves buses for tertiary institutions. Removes restriction on student loans. Sanwo-Olu OK's 50% fare reduction in BRT ride. Water transportation. And then we have also, there was a breakdown of it there. And then we have Senate screens, Wike, Edu, Tunji Ojo, 11 others, sustains bow and go practice. Battle rages in states yet to get ministerial nomination. Oyo workers protests lock secretariat. Demand palliatives. Payment of salary deductions. Leave bonus. Come to round table, only 2 months salary deductions owed. Government. Osun CSOs stage protest over non-provision of palliatives. All right, these are some of the headlines from the Nigerian Tribune. Cyril.
Oh, well, I might say quite a huge lump that I now have to deal with. So perhaps let me begin with the last one you took.
Okay.
The workers who did their job. They didn't ask government to come to a round table before they did their work. I don't see why they now have to come to a round table before they are paid. In any case, why deduct salaries? What was the purpose? Why fighting ghost workers? And even if you were, we saw the case of Abia. People are not protesting. The only thing we got to know was that government saved more than 200 billion naira, I think, from no million or billion. Well, I can't remember now. But like, government saved more than 200 million or billion naira from unifying the payroll and cutting off ghost workers. But in the case of Oyo yesterday, so some friends of mine were really concerned that the government will need to act quickly to avoid that protest or that sort of thing spreading beyond Oyo State, because it's as if Nigeria is sitting on a tinderbox right now. Anything that happens in one place can quickly spiral. That same yesterday, you saw Lagos State government, it quickly came out and said they are slashed bus fares by 50% because there is fear. There is fear. Yes, there is fear that things could get out of hand. Worse than what we are doing NSAS. There is fear. So I don't understand what the governor's own game is. People have worked. Identify those who have worked and pay them. Why do they need to come to a round table to be paid? Did the federal government owe him his own allocation? That he will be owing workers 2 months' salaries. Lagos does not owe. There are many states that don't owe. Why should even owe workers? It is a sin against man and God, actually. To deprive a worker of his wages is a very unfair practice and can incur the wrath of God on leadership. It is true. As a Christian, I'm taught that I should take the work of my secular employer as if I was doing it for God. So if I bring God into the mix of my work with you, and you don't pay me at the end of the day, even if I didn't protest, if I said I leave you to God, if that your business is in danger. So why will you now owe workers? Why I honestly, this governor came over in 2019, and in 100 days he set a record. If you remember, they said he had bought sedan vehicles for security agencies. He had done there was a lot he did. That the whole nation was like, this is the governor, this is the governor. In fact, I recall that in Abia they said if you have an extra mark in there, please send him to us in Abia State.
So he's second tenure now.
Now I don't understand what this signals I'm getting, because I don't think it is the right thing to do. Look, if the money was there, there is no reason, there is no basis to owe workers.
Could it be that monies were taken and used during the election?
Well, I can't sit here and make the assumption, but even if that was the case, that is criminal, that is immoral, that is wrong. You have no basis for, and to tell workers to now come to the round table. What does that even mean? The other stories that we took, They bow and go practice. You see, the thing is this. Like I told you, there's fear, and there's political fear, there's economic fear, there is social fear. There are all kinds of fears in the land today, and don't let anybody talk you out of this. Over the weekend, there was a debate. Not that those who took opposing sides stood face to face, but the Senate spokesman, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, and some other senators said very categorically that the screening was going to be thorough, that they were going to check everybody who came, and so. And Senator Yina Abaribe said, "What are these people saying?"
Bawango is still.
We have a tradition. If you're a former lawmaker, we can't. You have privilege. You bow and take a walk. Now, what happened yesterday? I thought that they will stay. They will stand because of course, Yina Abaribe is an Abga senator. How many Abga people are there in the Senate? Even Labour, how many are there? So I thought that the majority people would have carried the day, but then yet, even the PDP couldn't oppose Wike when Wike came and they told him bow and go as a former governor, not a lawmaker. But they extended the privilege to him. I remember the last time they were trying to confirm former governor of Rivers and Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi. There was even a level of debate, Senate President Ahmed Lawan was trying to insist and say, was trying to persuade them to say, look, this man is a former federal lawmaker, but he was a former member and speaker of a House of Assembly in Rivers State, okay, for 8 years. So can't we extend the same privilege to him, even if he was not on our level, but he was at the state level? Do you know? Some lawmakers said, no, let us question him. Eventually, I think he took a bow after a very brief interaction with them and left. This time around, they with every passing assembly, the capacity for this it gets watered down.
But there was a nominee he was questioned. He was asked about his certificate, how he was able to get into school with 2 credits.
1989. Is it that one? The
No.
professor.
No.
There's another one.
I think I can't get the name now.
Yeah, I'm also
Shaibu or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure. He was asked how it is that his secondary school certificate was 2 credits, and how did he get into school? And his response was that he wrote other exams and got into school, but he didn't want to bother them with those ones, so he just brought this one.
He wanted to bother them with his under qualification.
He just brought this one, and when the president of the Senate queried him, went on to query him and ask, why did he choose what to give the Senate? Did he choose the certificates to put down? He didn't have a tangible response, but at the end of the day, the president of the Senate said, okay, just take a bow, make sure you get your certificates across to, get them across, but you won't have to appear before us again. Just get them across, take a bow, and go. So ultimately, does that mean he will be approved?
He has been approved, Moses. He has been approved. Now, you, at the risk of sounding, is it polemic? What's the word now? You think that everything happening is happening because it was happening at that time. It's not so. The simplicity of the excuses and the seamlessness of the passage just tells you that what you're watching in front of the curtain already happened behind the curtain. The first thing that must have happened is that, see what they said. Nominees were told to submit their credentials between Friday and Monday. So the first layer of vetting should have been at the presidency itself, because these are the president's nominees. So the quality check, though you don't expect the Senate to do the quality check for you. Of course, it's part of their work. The DSS cleared them. The DSS cleared them. Mm-hmm. The presidency took it off from there, received their documentation and paper. So why do you submit documentation if it is not to do checks before D-Day? Okay, so it's not a new thing. Did they even need those credits to be a minister. He didn't need them. Moses, he didn't need them now. Did he need them?
He needs. Yes, he did say that he you know that he knows, and he knows everybody there knows that to qualify for electoral positions, all you need is a school certificate.
When is a school certificate? What do you mean exactly?
All you need is a secondary school certificate.
No, you don't need that. FSLC. First school living certificate. FSLC. What did Buhari have? So, so this is where we are. You see,
we really need to adjust the.
We are not ready to adjust anything.
No.
We are not ready to begin the conversations.
We can't have people who are not, whose certificates are not robust, governing people who. I mean, if you want to seek a job now, emphasis is placed on your certificates.
Yes.
Your qualification. That's for those seeking employment. But those ruling us, emphasis isn't placed on that. How is that?
Now, this is the point. In all fairness to every citizen of Nigeria and anybody anywhere in the world, certification and schooling are two different things from education itself.
I absolutely agree.
Great. Was it Ediro? May I not mention the wrong name, but one of our great novelists in Nigeria didn't go to any school. Okay. But he became a frontline.
Definitely not Eddie Rowe.
Okay, became a frontline broadcaster and went on to become a great novelist. I wish I could pick the name. So this is the point. But the fact is, since we have become a society that places emphasis on this thing, you cannot draw Peter to paper. You cannot have two different skills and weigh them differently. That's the problem. I mean, for him to have even become, I believe he didn't speak bad English. I believe he was good. So how can we ensure that if we place emphasis on certification, Anthony Naure became editor of Azix magazine at a very young age. He had not even gone to school, but he was educated enough. Okay, so if we want to place emphasis on certification, let us go the whole hog. But if you now want to turn it the other way around and say certification, yes, but some have and some don't, and some don't have, or some have and some even go ahead to forge. The blame cannot be put only on the Senate and Senate President. We need to ask the DSS, the police, okay, and all these people. This man, how has a person scaled all the, and the most recently the presidency? Who received this document, and how come questions were not asked? Who raised a flag and who said let it go, let it fly? Until we are willing to deal with these issues. And look, somebody wrote an article in 2000, I think. He was talking about the fact that the Jews of the world have been able to make a case for themselves after the Holocaust that 6 million Jews were killed. Please follow my line of thought. And have, as a result of that, gotten concessions using their media. They've been resettled on their homeland. They, you know the whole. I mean, whenever the story of the Jews are told, you can't avoid talking about the Holocaust and then reparations that are being paid, on account of that incident. That is one. He now said that. So in making that argument, he said that in Nigeria, is it the voice of good men or people who have been affected by Nigerian corruption have not been able to speak up for themselves, and that this point I'm coming to, and that he didn't believe or see anybody within the current political class of that time, the year 2000. Then Bola Ahmed Tinubu was governor of Lagos. That none of the people that was a part of that political class at that time would save Nigeria. Even they each took turns to become president.
I see where you're coming to.
Now, this is the point. I was listening to the headlines and I was almost saying, is this not a circus? We go around this whole thing you're saying. Look, even if a non-living thing was sent to the floor of the Senate, it will get nomination. Moses, this is a play.
Let's take some other.
It's plain truth.
Headlines.
You go around the same headlines, the same things you keep hearing, little drama here, little drama there.
Let's talk about diphtheria. Nigeria records 839 cases, 83 diphtheria deaths in 8 states. How is it that we haven't learned from Ebola, COVID, to ward off diseases before they start eating deep into the society? How is it that we don't have health structures in place? You know, Ebola came and there was, I mean, it took private individuals to campaign and now diphtheria has come. There is anthrax on the other side.
Even COVID.
There is anthrax on the other side. You know, government has done a bit of campaigning, but you know, private individuals are also campaigning. But diphtheria is killing. It's killing people. How is it so?
If an epidemic as deadly as malaria is killing people in the hundreds in this country every day, and government has not declared an emergency on malaria, and has not taken very, very far-reaching steps to roll back malaria, I don't understand why a government that is not paying attention to malaria will pay attention to diphtheria. But let me come to the main point. It is primarily because we have not strengthened the primary healthcare system. That's the primary reason. You see, the thing is that, so there's an outbreak of a disease, diphtheria, then the governor makes a state outbreak as the following month. That's not how it works. If we have a functional healthcare system, primary healthcare system, there's a problem in the neighborhood, somebody reports it, people go to the healthcare system, they can get assistance from that place. They can then, there's a reporting burukutu to standard orthodox medicine. How do you think that we are going to be able to deal with medical emergencies when they land on our doorsteps?
I thought there was some sort of collaboration to enable herbal, you know, to incorporate herbal medicine with orthodox.
You have to be very careful with it. You know, in 1984, former Minister of Health, I think Real Admiral Koshoni, tried it, and what came after him, you know, he left it and literally fled. The fact is that it's not Western. Let me say orthodox medicine, standard medicine, scientific medicine, and what we practice in our their lagbos are not on the same pedestal. Somebody who tells you that take a cup of this, it cures every sickness from waist pain to come on. You must be kidding me, right? It cures malaria, headache, waist pain, headache, stomach pain, menstrual pain, everything.
You don't think it works?
You cannot know. And what is the dosage?
Dosage is the thing.
One thing cannot cure everything. So this is, you can't place them on the same level. A lot of times, if you went to the wards of internal medicine specifically in tertiary institutions, you find that people who have been taking agbo for months, maybe 6 months, and nothing is happening, they now go to the hospital, and by the time they go there, their stomach, the thing has fried up their organs. So it's a whole value chain. And if government is not willing to, first of all, we should even ask ourselves, where does government place health? When you say healthcare, what does government think about it? In the 80s, this was what I always say, he would say that education and health were the two primary things that you focus on, because education spoke to the mind of man, while health spoke to the physical body of man. And as a result of that, both will be free. So, because if you don't have healthy citizens, you can't drive a nation. But when we talk about health, it's like we're just talking about another sector. Agriculture is just a sector. There's no we don't have a real philosophy coming to these sectors. Yesterday the president talked about releasing grains, and I was wondering, you thought of releasing grains 15 days ago or so. Nothing was released. People went to break into our warehouses in Adamawa State. I was very surprised that he didn't talk about the Niger coup. Because as Africa's big brother, and as the generous benefactors of our neighbors, Niger Republic, I thought Nigeria should feel personally responsible for preserving democracy in Niger. He didn't even say anything about that. An American president wouldn't do this, because your as president, your policies are on two grounds. One, foreign policy. Two, your domestic agenda. If your domestic agenda is to fix the economy, your foreign policy must be to protect democracy, because what happens in your in Burkina Faso, in Guinea Conakry, in Chad, and in Mali isn't too far from you. And he, being the champion of democracy who fought military dictatorship, I thought he would have considered a banding duty to talk about what happened in Niger, but he didn't say a single thing about it. See what the president should have done yesterday. They should have fast-tracked their discussion with Labour and made sure that yesterday he announced a new minimum wage in that speech that Nigerians would cheer about. He didn't do that. I think it was a failure. Look, I don't know if you remember that I told you off the air last week that I expect the president to address the nation or make a major concession to Nigerians this week. And I didn't see it coming the way it did. But yesterday, he made a speech. And this is barely 2 months into his government to tell that things are not the way where they should be. How many presidents 2 months into your government are already addressing the nation? He should have come with a bang. He should have said minimum wage is now 60,000, 100,000. So that workers can cheer this morning.
I mean, that will probably stop the strike.
But
the intended NLC strike.
But I listened to the speech real time, and I said, well, it didn't look. Somebody said on his WhatsApp status, he said, if you have to explain your success, then it means you didn't succeed, you failed. But this is just 2 months into the government, okay? So I'm wondering, the president, this should have come with a bang. Why do you need 2 whole months or 3 months to negotiate with Labour? And in the middle of it, they are going on strike. It means something is not adding up somewhere.
All right. Well, Labour also issued a statement, which we'll look at much later when we go deeper into the president's speech. Let's look at some of the headlines before we call it a day. Adamawa looting. Police arraign 110. PEPC, Tinubu, Atiku, Obi to adopt final written addresses today. And yes, that's there's a breakdown of the speech here as well. Mixed reactions trail Tinubu's address. Experts express concern on loan moratorium, roles of other tiers of government. Ogbe commends president, says powerful team needed to implement policy. Speech done to convince organized labor not to embark on protest, Atiku's aid. Labor doubts his ability to control inflation. Gasoline prices, insists on strike. All right. So these are the headlines from Nigerian Tribune. And let's see, I think. Oh, yes. Okay, so I've taken the headlines on top of the nameplates there. Now, from the Daily Trust, banner headline here, Labour faults Tinubu's broadcasts, insist on tomorrow's protest, will intervene on our policies if necessary. President announces 200 billion naira for agri intervention, 75 billion naira to strengthen manufacturing sector. President's broadcast, deceptive, Atiku. Senate leadership to meet presidency, NLC over planned strike. I wonder if Senate...
May I even come in there? I think that one of the major... one major undoing of this, that may become the undoing of this government, is the fact that they don't consult. They don't sound like they are consultative. They don't sound like it. They don't sound like it. They don't sound like they meet people, consult with them, reach out before making speech. Look at 75 billion naira for Nigerian manufacturers. Let me ask, what is the total value or worth of Nigerian manufacturing today? 75 billion, that's what one manufacturer alone can I don't know, it sounds like facility to start a new factory or something. And at what rate of inflation are we putting that figure? Because the fact, the inflation, what 75 billion naira was at mid-2019 is not what it is today.
True.
So what is that amount of money that we think is much? What can they do with it? If they take if they take the facility, light bills will crush them. Energy sourcing for petrol or diesel will crush them. then you have to import the things you need to manufacture. I don't. Maybe there was. Did it mean 750 billion or 75 billion?
75 billion. Let's end on a lighter note.
Oh, great.
Let's end.
Great. That'd be awesome.
Let's talk about the Falcons. Super Falcons to earn 46. There's a headline here. Super Falcons to earn 46 million naira each for picking World Cup round of 16 tickets.
To earn. Not that they've already earned.
No, they will earn. They will be given for picking.
Not when they come back. Why can't you give it to them now? Don't give long story. Why can't you give it to them so that it will be a bonus going into the second round?
And a boost, actually.
It don't give us headlines. Because tomorrow you will now hear these same Falcons were on their way to the tournament, and we know what happened. Have we forgotten? When FIFA gave Nigeria $980 million or $9 something million to prepare the team, and they came out and said, "No, please."
I was hoping we end on a happy note.
No. The first match was a draw. The second match, they literally walloped the host nation, Australia, 3-1.
Yes.
Only for the referee to give them 11, I don't know what to call it, 11 unwarranted minutes that made the Matildas, that is the Australian women, to pull one back. But it was a good now we end all the 3 points, beating the host on home soil at the FIFA World Cup. I mean, it was a great feat.
But yesterday we just strolled into.
No, it's fine. Of course, yesterday our girls were smart enough not to have underrated their Irish counterparts. Okay. So they went to the game. Ireland, of course, had a score to settle with us because they needed to qualify. I think they drew one match and what. So, but they needed to win badly, and they didn't get it. But Nigeria needed only a point, and we are still. So, kudos to.
Shouldn't we have scored the goal so we'll be on top of the group?
No, but I think we're still on top of the group.
No, we are not on top.
We are second, but it doesn't matter still. What matters is for us to prepare thoroughly and. There's no guarantee in sports. You could beat a strong team and lose a weaker one, depending on how you come to the game and the mood of the game at a particular time. In our first match, one of our girls had a red card. All right, what's her name? Something Abiodun. Took a red card. So you never know what happens when you go into a game until you've gone into it. But I'm happy that our girls are making us proud. We are our men. The last time our men did well at the World Cup, 1994. We played Bulgaria, Greece, and Argentina in the group stage and qualified to the knockout stage where we met Italy and there was a majority in the game, but we lost out. The second World Cup, 1998, we played against Spain. In Spain, we played against Spain. I think Spain. Spain, Paraguay was the last game. First game was Spain. We beat them 3-2. Second game was Bulgaria, played them 1-0. Ekpeba scored that memorable goal. Then the last match was against Paraguay, which we lost 3-1. Because of course our boys had thought, having qualified, they didn't need to put in anything again.
That is a problem.
Of course, in the
laxity,
setting, in the knockout stage, we lost 4-1 to Denmark. It was a scandalous loss. We thought we could pull back what we did at the Olympic Games, but it didn't work. So we lost 4-1 and we came home. Then the next World Cup was in 98, was 2004 or 6, 2002, Korea, Japan. We lost, we came out in the group stage because of course Onigmene was our coach then. The next World Cup we didn't qualify. The next World Cup was South Africa in 2010, group stage again. But it's good to see our girls, making us proud
round of 16.
Yes.
All right, we wish them well as they go forward.
I'll be praying for them specifically. I like the way they play and the way they carry.
All right, so the whole idea was to end the show with a smile on our faces. With the
Moses all the way from Australia.
All the way from Australia. That's where the joy is coming from.
It's coming from
far away Australia.
Very far away.
Oh well. President Bola Tinubu last night addressed the nation as concerns. Well, first of all, I must say thank you very much, Cyril, for coming on the newspaper segments of the show.
Thank you.
We always, value your contributions here.
It's a pleasure.
All right, Cyril is always in-house with us.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's go to the second part of the show now. I did say earlier that the President Bola Tinubu last night addressed the nation as concerns continue to mount over worsening poverty and sky-high inflation. no doubt spurred by the policy choices of his administration since his inauguration only 2 months ago. Well, the president says he understands. But the question is, how well? How well does he understand? Well, let's try to find answers to that in just a bit. Stay with us. We'll be back in a bit.
It's a network, the actor.